Meet the Farmer TV is made possible by the generous support of Planet Earth Diversified, Makia Video Productions, and Melly Productions, with additional support from the Blue Light Grill and Raw Bar, and Flavor Magazine, serving the Piedmont's local food and wine culture. I'm Michael Clark for Meet the Farmer TV, and here we are at Flavor Magazine's Winter Party. Flavor Magazine serves the Piedmont's local food and wine culture. Let's go inside to the Copper Fox Distillery and find out about some local food, some local producers, and a handcrafted local single malt whiskey.
So we're just really grateful that you guys are here to celebrate with us and to help us. I think even more than a publication, we want the magazine to be something that brings people together, that helps facilitate the movement that's already happening. We are certainly not starting the movement, but we can help give some legs to it and bring the spokes all together into a central place. So we're grateful for you guys for your work and again for celebrating with us. Thank you.
Okay, so here we are at Copper Fox Distillery. We've got Melissa Harris that's responsible for this entire event. Tell us, what the heck's happening? This is the winter party?
A winter party because our farmers, producers, winemakers, they can't get out in the middle of August, July, October, where it's a great time to have a party. They can get out when it's cold, and they have actually a moment to get together and meet each other and network and get together and have a good party. So the idea was that our magazine supports local producers, and this is the time when local producers can get out for a party.
Well, that's terrific.
That's the idea.
Wow.
And so nothing better than a big indoor distillery.
Yes.
So they're running the still, they're making whiskey. We've got local wine, we've got local beer from Star Hill, we have wine from local vineyards, we have food from local producers, local restaurants, local farms. And everyone gets to come and try each other's products and hang out and dance and party with a local band.
Wow.
There's nothing better.
So is this going to be a regular annual event?
We sure hope so.
That's good, because I don't watch football, so we have to do something this weekend.
I can't see why not. And this is when folks can. Like, no one has to go to market tomorrow. You know, everybody can shut their restaurant down a little earlier because it's kind of slow and come out. Because usually chefs can't come out. They can't come out on a Saturday night for a party. Right. But at the end of January, they can. They can. And we have our little chef down there from the Inn at Little Washington, and we don't normally get to see him on a Saturday night.
He never gets out.
And we've got Michael Clune from Sunnyside, who would be going to market, and he could not be out. He could not be out. So, but that's the plethora of that. Like, we have folks from all the way up in Lovettsville, the uppermost parts of Loudoun County, to Short Pump, who have come out.
That's true.
Because they can get together. And the folks that are here deserve a good party. They deserve a good party. They deserve to be appreciated and rewarded. So that's what we're doing.
Well, thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
Now tell us what's new and exciting coming up with Flavor Magazine.
Oh my gosh. Well, the big thing is that we're going bi-monthly. Because we really want to run with the seasons, and the seasons are that we have winter, which is out now. We have early spring and then late spring, early summer, late summer, and then fall. Fall will be a big issue because there's a lot going on in the harvest. But we have two distinct different seasons. Early spring, late summer, late summer are very different seasons here. Virginia has a very long season. And so we want to really accentuate that. And so we're going to be running every 2 months now. Wow. So that's kind of a big thing.
So you just came out now.
We have the new issue out now on stands, which has Gerhardt's chocolates on the cover, which is sort of indicative of the Valentine's season. Yeah. We've got stories about local brewers, local vineyards, local producers, seeds, what to be ordering, heirloom seeds, things to be thinking about.
Terrific.
The maple syrup producers. We have the southernmost maple syrup producer in the United States, in Virginia.
Wow.
So some cool stuff. We've got a lot of cool stuff going on. So
and we've got a special dinner coming up with
We do. Tuscarora Mill does something that's really dynamic. I think it's really dynamic. Is they invite the local producers to come in, and the local vintners to come in and say, what are you growing? What are you doing? How can we collaborate? How can we serve what you're growing? And how can you grow what we need? So that they really sit down at the table and they etch out their plan for the season. I mean, that is beautiful. It's exactly what we need to do. It's smart, it's concise, it's sustainable, it's local, but even more than that, I mean, it's just good business. It's just good business. You are utilizing your farmer to his full potential, and you're participating in the restaurant to its full potential. So that dinner's coming up, and it's going to be a blast. It's going to be great.
Well, I think we should go and cover that.
I think that you should come. I think that it will be great. And for people other restaurants to understand they should do that. They can do that.
Yeah, that would be a good example.
Think out of the box. It's a good time to think out of the box.
Right.
So,
well, you know what's really interesting to me is we see huge corporations laying off every day. Every day you hear in the news, but the small operations like this, and these little mom and pop operations and farms and small restaurants, they're not doing that. They can't.
Literally,
they have to just keep going.
My publisher's letter in this winter issue is exactly what I talk about. Is that as I travel around the Piedmont, I see a lot of businesses going out of business, and I don't see any local businesses going out of business. I see them actually thriving. They're like, we're doing as well as we were last year, pretty much 5–10% better. Like, we're tracking like we should, because they invest in the local market, they're sourcing from the local market, and thus the local consumers are partnering. It's the concept of a CSA is that they invest, they ride the wave with you, and they really dig in with you, and they've insulated themselves from any kind of economic hardship. And I see it happening all over.
And most of these purveyors were working very hard to begin with. It wasn't magic profits from smoke and mirrors. It was really hard work.
It's hard work. It's a good product, and it's something that people trust and know. And you know, all you have to do is turn the TV and see what's going on with your food in China, and you see this food scare and that food scare, and you know, I know what's going on at so-and-so's farm. I can go out there, full transparency. I know what's going on in this kitchen, full transparency. When a restaurant sources local, what that says to me, if I'm eating there, is that they're committed to the market. They're committed to my local farmer. They're committed to bringing me something really good, and the partnership begins. And it's really, in this area, people get it. They get it, and they really partake of it. And so I see the local businesses doing really, really well.
Well, that's true.
Really, really well. So
we all should look to Flavor Magazine to show us more about this.
We'll just tell you the good stories. We'll tell you the good stories. We'll tell you who's sourcing local. We'll tell you who is really getting out there and doing it, so that you can participate.
All right.
You know, some of us know who it is, but we have a directory that's always in there of all of the local markets seasonally. So whatever's functioning year-round, we have it in there as it's moving. As CSAs are open, as markets are open, as poultry, meat farmers are open, restaurants that source local, caterers that source local, apiaries. So it's in there by season that you can partake. Like if it's in there, that issue, they're open and doing business that issue.
That's true.
So,
well, we look forward to another great year of thriving local food systems.
That's right. That's right.
All right, I'm Avis Renshaw, and I'm with Mom's Apple Pie Company, which I run with my husband and a number of my kids, actually. So we have a farm north of Leesburg on the Potomac River in beautiful, beautiful river bottom soil. And we have several retail stores that we sell the pies and the bread that we make with the products that we grow on the farm.
So how did you get started?
We were bankrupt farmers back in the late 70s. And we wanted to come out of bankruptcy without going on welfare. So we started baking pies in our kitchen and selling them through his brother's farm market.
We had a lot of farm market experience, and we knew they didn't have good pies.
Right.
I mean, in fact, that was a constant complaint, and it certainly was true.
Yeah.
At the local farm markets.
And we started, and we really couldn't make enough pies, really. And,
Wow.
And when farming came up as an opportunity, there we were bankrupt and lost our truck farming capacities, but as soon as we had an opportunity, there was that delicious bottomland along the Potomac near Luckett's, outside of Leesburg, and we managed to keep our dukes on the land. And there's some CSA people that with 600 or 700 subscribers, and so I like our niche.
Well, that's true.
You know, the less than perfect stuff, as I said, we can turn into glaze or freeze, and we don't have to worry ourselves to death fighting with a broker with trying to produce a bunch of aesthetic perfect.
So that's great. So you sell all of yours directly to the outlets, or the
Almost.
To our pies, most of our pies are sold through our own little stores.
Oh,
and
okay.
in season, when we're picking the berries, we also sell the fresh berries, but the majority of those end up in pies.
Okay.
And we do a fresh pie in season with each berry. So we start the season off with strawberries, and we have a beautiful strawberry pie that's just fresh strawberries on a thin layer of cream cheese, and a beautiful strawberry glaze on it. And then we move in
No
to
Jello crap.
Yeah, no junk. It's just the real deal.
No modified cellulose thickener?
I'm sorry, no, and you can't talk me into it either. So, and then we transition into blackberries, and we do the same with raspberries and black raspberries.
Wow.
And we also do the rhubarb and strawberry pie. And when we're doing the fresh in season, the stuff that's right there off the plant, we do a butter crust as well as our standard shortening margarine crust.
Oh.
And so if you want a butter crust rhubarb, you got to do it when rhubarb's in season, because that's the only time we feel it's really worth it to make those fabulous butter crusts.
And you're doing all this in in your home kitchen?
No, not anymore.
Okay.
We did that. We learned our lesson.
Yeah.
So
They
no.
used to sell a lot to farm markets, grocery stores, restaurants, and then figured out that it would be a lot better if we, the family, could sell it at our own outlet locations. So we have 4 locations to where we sell our pies.
Wow.
I manage one of them.
Now, where are the locations?
We're in Occoquan, Warrenton, Leesburg,
And Sterling.
yeah.
If you want the best quiche, I think going, or the
have-
corn quiche with Asiago cheese, it's in there.
Yeah, we grow sweet corn for that. We grow asparagus.
You're raising all those eggs too?
No.
Not yet. Not yet. We're working on the goats and the
We'll leave that to
chickens.
somebody else. Thanks.
Chickens like strawberries.
Yeah, but dogs
don't
like
mix.
chickens, so we got to wait till the dogs go.
I see. No dog pies.
No dog pie. Maybe shepherd's pie, but not.
Shepherd pie.
Yeah. Sorry.
My name is Jason Burris. I'm the winemaker at Rappahannock Cellars in Huntley.
Now, how long have you been there?
I've been there since the 2006 vintage, and winemakers measure time in vintages instead of days or years. Because our work is seasonal. So I arrived in time for the 2006 vintage, and I have the 2006, the 2007, and the 2008 vintage under my belt there.
What kind of challenges are you facing, and what success stories do you have?
Well, from my perspective, Virginia is a boutique industry. We have a lot of wineries here, but none of the wineries produce a lot of wine, so we're all boutique producers. Boutique producers have a lot of challenges that other wineries don't face, and we have a lot of assets that a lot of other wineries, larger wineries don't have. So our big challenge would be in producing high quality, ripe grapes for the purpose of making wine out of it. We have the issue in Virginia. We have a very short, but very hot and humid growing climate here. So we would have to expend a lot of time and energy and thought into how do we get these grapes ripe in this environment, because grapevines, or at least the kind of grapevine that we use to make wine out of, the European grapevine, this is not the indigenous environment for that. The indigenous environment originally was in the Middle East and in the Mediterranean, which experiences very dry conditions. So you transplant the European grapevine to Virginia, which is a very humid environment. Your number one challenge is to stave off the rot conditions that would make you harvest wine grapes earlier than you might otherwise have to harvest.
Now, are there some grapes that you actually want some frost on or something to?
In general, no. A fun thing that we've done at the wineries, we've experimented with producing an Amarone type style Norton wine, and Norton is a variety. It's a French-American hybrid, but at least the genes that it has carried over from its American parent has lent it a much more disease resistant than any other grapevine that we grow. So we can leave that on the vine for as long as we want, and not worry about any disease pressure. So we can make we can desiccate the grapes on the vine and make an Amarone, which is an Italian style of making a wine from desiccated grapes.
Wow.
So we can make a very rich, very robust, very tannic red wine from that. And we can make a port style wine from that as well.
You're probably watching humidity and temperature gauges all the time.
We are. We will only spray when it's absolutely necessary. And we are a producer. We're a boutique producer, and we are very much stewards of the land. Our livelihoods are based on the fact that we make a local product, we sell to the locals around here. So we're very much interested in being great stewards of the land.
Wow. I'm with the executive sous chef of the Inn at Little Washington. Michael, tell us what it's like to be the executive sous chef at the best restaurant in the United States.
Well, it's demanding and fulfilling all at once. It's pretty incredible. Working at the Inn at Little Washington is more than just a job. It's a commitment of your professional life, of your personal life, and it's like nothing else.
Now I remember back in late 70s, early 80s when Patrick was first starting, and it was like a car garage or something, and he really reached out for finding local product, and you guys are sort of famous now for really. Well, you almost have to have a relationship with a local purveyor in order to get what you want, because what you want is not available from anywhere.
Right. And you'll see what we do, you know, now it's what, January 31st, and you can see our breadth, you know, there's only so much you can do in Virginia in January, except for you know, that can still deliver. You know, during the spring, early fall, summer, of course, it's, you know, farmers, local farmers, even not just farmers, but just local gardeners that do it out of a hobby, and the little old lady that comes in with the lettuce for $1.50 a pound, you know. It's great, you know, and that's like what you do is we can get it from you year round, which is really awesome, and it's local.
Right.
You know, what Chef O'Connell has done for so long, you'll see so many restaurants now, it's, you know, local this, and a warm hotbed of local served with a side of local. You know, we don't necessarily have to feature that because it's assumed that it's local, because we've done that long before it became the fad.
Right. So how do you guys build those relationships? It seems like it takes a really special relationship between the chef and of course chef's directions are going to come through you or through a number of people to the purveyor, and so that seems like it's a really difficult task.
It is. We'll talk with the local farmers and let them know what the product is we're looking for, what we're trying to aim for, what we need, what we don't need. A lot of that, you know, the people that come in and say, you know, we have a sweet lady that grows shard. We might not necessarily have shard on the menu, but if she's selling the shard at a reasonable price, we'll buy the shard, we'll use it for a staff meal that we do twice a day, so that we're supporting her, so that we're keeping that relationship alive. Even if it's not on the menu, we can use it, you know, we can use it for a staff meal, feed the staff, feed them something beautiful and local, and then when we do need shard, when we do have shard on the menu, we have her there, and we're not turning her away when we don't, because a lot of the people that do it on the smaller scale, they need it, you know, they won't be there next month if you don't buy this month. They don't care that a menu changes daily, you know, they care that it's in their garden that day. Right. And so within reason, we try and adapt to that, and we try and take care of them when we can.
So here we are with Terry Lehman of Epicurus Cow, just up the road in Emmitsville, Virginia. So Terry, tell me all about, I know we've been, gosh, I mean, you were like produce queen of Northern Virginia or something for a while.
For a very long time.
And then moved down here to do your own shop. And so tell us how that happened.
I fell in love with a farmer.
Oh my goodness.
I fell in love with a farmer and commuted back and forth for years to Gaithersburg to do my job, and then decided to give it up and open up my own little eclectic produce, food, natural market food. And I'm going on 8 years now.
And you support all kinds of local businesses. You're getting,
all types.
Getting tomatoes from, was it Morning Glory Farms in
Hummingbird Farms.
Hummingbird
Farms in Denton, Maryland. I do a lot with you. From Planet Earth Diversified with microgreens and herbs. I do a lot with Tuscarora Co-op out of Pennsylvania. Sunnyside, lots of people that do eggs here, local eggs, you know, a lot of meat producers, Touchstone Farms, Stony Meadow Farms, Mount Vernon Farm.
And we've seen you down at the Shenandoah Valley Produce Auction over in the valley.
Harrisonburg, yeah.
So when do you get to run the store if you're running all over the place finding this local product?
Wednesday through Sunday. Come in for some breakfast burritos. They're awesome.
All right, let's go for breakfast burritos at the E-Cow.
Okay. It's a wonderful place. It's eclectic. It is warm and fuzzy. It has got great energy, and it's just a wonderful place to stop by and grab
Wednesday through Sunday.
Wednesday through Sunday.
We can get breakfast burritos, lunch, and when you close at
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
10 to 6.
All right, we're with the savior of Sunnyside here, Michael. So tell me, Sunnyside was going gangbusters and then kind of stopped, and you guys came in and rescued it from oblivion, and now you're like serving 18,000 farmers markets all over DC, and
I wish actually we were serving 18,000 farmers markets. We're sort of limited in our production, but one of the things that we count on is the fact that we have consistency in the product, and we have a really, really fine product. What we do now is actually 2 farmers markets in DC and a CSA, which I am exceptionally proud of because of the fact our presentation of the product, the community that we've actually created with our CSA customers, I think can't be beat.
And when does your CSA run?
CSA will start 1st of June, first week of June.
Okay.
Yeah, it was interesting because I actually saw some of our CSA shareholders tonight, and they were very eager, to say the least, about when they can get their vegetables.
You're bringing people good, healthy, wonderful food, and
interestingly enough, one of the things about organic and local food is the fact that one of the things I learned about 15 years ago in my profession is the fact that younger people were getting sicker at an early age with no predisposing dispositions, no genetics, they weren't smoking, they weren't overly obese. I attribute a lot of that to food, and a lot of that that stresses the importance of local food. And a lot of people don't realize that yet. You know, if we shop at certain things where we don't know where the food comes from, we don't know how it's grown, what do we give people? We give people the opportunity to actually not only give them food from a local area, but also they can meet me and I can tell them how it was grown. It's so important.
But that's important for our psychology too, that we're doing something that we're proud and happy and feel like you're doing I mean, to be a paramedic firefighter, you had to have a certain drive that you're willing to sacrifice something of yourself to help other people.
Yeah, I had a commitment to the society, and without a doubt, one of the things that what happens is it just takes such a toll on you emotionally. You know, you actually see so many things. After a while, you're totally immune from it. And when I reached that point, and I realized that, I'm just a little cynical, it's time to go. So I'm an English major. I write short stories making fun of the things that I saw before. But right now, one of the things that I'm very pleased about is the fact that we sell the products that we sell, myself and our colleagues, because we're all colleagues in this area, we're taking another responsibility to our customers, you know, in that we're giving them the best product. It doesn't come from 1,000 miles away. It comes from 60 miles away.
So tell me more about how you see what you're doing and local products and people buying local products having this sort of holistic effect of greater health.
Oh, totally. One of the reasons is the fact that, especially in the farmer's market or the CSA that we have, you can actually sit there and tell your customers, all right, this product was planted on this date, it matured at this date, this was used on it, it traveled this far, like not even a quarter of a mile in our CSA, 65 miles to get to the farmer's market. And because of that, I can tell you that it has no additives. It wasn't waxed, it wasn't this, it wasn't that. It's an exceptionally important thing when you actually talk to your customers, because there are a lot of people who are seeking the local product. And in my opinion, I think local is what it's all about. Whether it be meat, eggs, vegetables, even honey, you know. Let's say I had a bad day at a farmer's market, my customers would know that, because we assume certain personalities in the farmer's markets. They expect a certain, maybe some sarcasm from me, maybe just a little bit. I think what they like more, well, last week you bought this spinach, maybe you'd like to try this baby kale that we've actually just brought to the market. Our customers love that fact.
It's so much different than going into a checkout line and like, I don't know, you know, what is that? There's not a button for that.
I can look at the picture and say, oh yeah, is that a leek or, no, celeriac, what is that? We know the products, we know where it came from, we can actually tell you the variety, you know, and that's very important.
That's true.
As a producer, it's very important. As a customer, I think it's becoming more important. You know, when we used to go to down south, we go to the Piggly Wiggly. Yeah, not anymore. Now we can actually tell you, this is a Natasha or a Natalie brand of escarole. This is a little sweeter, that's not. You can stir fry this is better in a salad. And that's the other thing, the dynamic that's created with that is the fact that we can actually, I actually like those beet grains, and people make fun of me. Everything I cook is cooked with olive oil and garlic. You know, it's stir fried. All right, so I'm a really lazy cook. Maybe a little red chili just to spice it up a little bit. But yeah, people ask, well, can you cook those turnip greens? Yeah, garlic and olive oil. And then somebody over here, you said that about the beet greens. I'm like, yeah, that's because that's the only way I know how to cook. I cook all my meat on the grill. I saute everything in garlic and olive oil, and they love that.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, that's our responsibility as farmers to our consumer.
So you're really delivering more than just food to them. You're delivering us some psychological support and a connection to the planet.
To be honest with you, I think that if there wasn't a personality that went along with it, and it was just sort of like a, big brother, hey, there's that, go over here, there's that.
Yeah.
No, that wouldn't work. We'd go out of business next year.
Well, here we are with Rick Wasman at Copper Fox Distillery, and we're going to have a little tour. Tell us about what you do here, Rick.
All right. Well, thanks, Ben. First off, we make this wonderful whiskey. It's a little bit unique, and I'll get into some of the reasons why. But we make a single malt whiskey with a single malt means it's 100% malted barley in the recipe or the grain bill that we make the whiskey from.
Now, you get all this barley locally?
We get all our barley, and we start our tour with a shrine to our farmer, because this is the guy that starts it all. His name is Billy Dawson. The name of his company is Bay's Best Feed, and Billy, I see we a little crooked, maybe that's because of the whiskey, but it's out in Heathsville, Virginia, which is about an hour or so, it's toward Reedville. It's east of Fredericksburg. Virginia is a great place to grow barley, and when I thought about getting into the business, it's a great climate, great soil. I contacted Virginia Tech, and they were working on a bunch of strains, and they were thrilled to hear that someone was going to do something with the barley, because no one was, commercially at any size making any beer, no one was making any whiskey, and it's not the fault of the farming or the climate or anything, it's just no one was doing it. So they were exceedingly helpful with giving us a couple of strains to try out, and what we settled on was a strain called Thoroughbred that they had kind of brought along with some Turkish and French malting parents, and it just works out great in Virginia. The flavor of the whiskey that comes through is wonderful. We're thrilled with it. It's not particularly the highest yielding of the barleys as far as the alcohol, but what we're about is the flavor. We don't have the economies of scale. We're not trying to be the lowest cost producer, the cheapest bottle on the shelf, but we are crazy about the quality. So everything we do is, is this going to impact the flavors, or anything we can do a little bit better? And it all comes together in a real nice whiskey.
So Rick, you've told us how you get your grain from a local farmer, pretty much one grower. The residue from distilling ends up being feed for another local farmer's cattle, and you're getting wood chips from the surrounding area, and you even get the bourbon barrels, the
Virginia Gentleman.
Virginia Gentleman. So you've got this whole operation, and it seems to be completely hand operated from start to finish. You're raking the grain, you're hand filling and bottling, hand labeling, and you're also supporting all of these Virginia businesses.
Well, what I've always really wanted to do is grow vegetables, but I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe you could make compost.
Maybe. So,
or maybe you could just bottle the vegetables in high spirits.
High spirits. Yeah. Cucumber.
Carrots and cucumbers in high spirits.
That would be.
We'll look for that next year.
All right, we're on it. We're on it.
Well, there you have it. Flavor Magazine's Winter Party 2009, serving the local food and wine culture for the Piedmont region. For additional information and extended versions of this program, visit our website, www.meetthefarmer.com. Meet the Farmer TV was made possible by the generous support of Planet Earth Diversified, Makia Video Productions, and Melly Productions. with additional support from the Blue Light Grill and Raw Bar, and Flavor Magazine, serving the Piedmont's local food and wine culture.